So real quick, a little bit about me. I was the executive director of Veterans for Peace, and I can't tell you how honored I was, or I am, to have done that. I almost feel like, what am I going to do next? You know, because in my mind, Veterans for Peace is one of the most important organizations in the country. There are not many veterans groups other than Veterans for Peace, Iraq Veterans Against the War, and Vietnam Veterans Against the War, and they're not as much, I guess, for peace, even IVAW, as Veterans for Peace. Their spectrum of ideas in IVAW and VVAW is not directly towards peace. It's more anti-war. So when you have veterans actually coming out and speaking for peace and challenging our country to act and be different, that's a powerful thing. So I'm a little bit struggling right now as to what I'm going to do next, but I'll figure that out. Also, I know that as the executive director for Veterans for Peace, when I would go places and I would get introduced, I would get applause, and sometimes people would actually stand up and give me a standing ovation. That's because of Veterans for Peace, not because of Michael McPhearson. So I'm actually going to miss that. But, you know, that's the way things go. Now I have to work harder. I joined Veterans for Peace in the late 2002. I was in the military in the Army. I served in what people call the first Gulf War in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Desert Shield was the first part of when Saddam invaded Iraq, Saddam invaded Kuwait, and we sent troops there, so-called, to protect Kuwait from Saddam. I'm just going to get this all confused. Protect Saudi Arabia from Saddam continuing on to Saudi Arabia. And then Desert Storm was to push him out of Kuwait and back into Iraq. And as you all know, the senior Bush decided not to continue into Baghdad and get rid of Saddam Hussein. And we contained, I say we as the United States government, decided to contain Iraq and set up basically the stages for what we're involved in today. I see Desert Shield, Desert Storm as being the first campaigns of the current conflict that we're in now, because there was no ending to the military operations. They continued. So it's one long war. So we've been at war with Iraq since 1991. People don't think of it that way, but that is the case. And I visited Iraq in 2003, in December of 2003, after the invasion, and I heard that from Iraqis. So they're clear on the fact that Saddam Hussein came into power because of the United States of America. I was told this by them, and if you read history, you know this. And then the fact that we put sanctions on them, and then we invaded them, and we're still there. So the people of Iraq are clear on what the United States has been doing to their nation. I joined the military in between my junior and senior year of high school. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Fort Bragg is there. And when you grow up in Fayetteville, the military, you know, you can say it's a way to escape, because there's not a lot in Fayetteville other than the military. There's some industry, but not much. But really, it is, you highly respect the military, because your friends' fathers and mothers are in the military. As you grow older, your friends join the military. And soldiers are people you look up to. I mean, soldiers are impressive. You see them dressed in their uniforms, being very respectful. They come to your school, and you want to be like them. So my family, not my father, but my uncles, my grandfather served in World War I. My uncles served in World War II. In Vietnam, so I've had that as part of my experience. So it was natural for me to want to go into the military, and I did. I wanted to serve. I was taught in my family. My mother taught us God, country, and service. You know, so it's natural, and I still feel those things. These are not things that I've let go of. I just have a different perspective on them. I was enlisted, so I've been an officer. When I went to the military, I became a captain. I went to the ROTC program. And I got out of the military a year after the end of the Gulf War. Now, the way I joined Veterans for Peace, for some soldiers, it's like an epiphany that something's wrong with war. I always knew that war wasn't a good thing, but I thought that there was a place for it. It was like a necessary evil. But as I've gotten older and come to better understand what war is, I'm not going to argue with a person whether or not there was a time where war was necessary. Maybe it was. But I would say to you today it's not necessary, and that we have to envision a time where we don't use war to solve our problems. In fact, with the weapon systems we have today, we could destroy ourselves. All of us are clear on that. And if there was a time where war wasn't immoral, that time has passed, because there's no way that you can go to war today without killing civilians who have nothing to do with the conflict. So whatever reason you're fighting, you're totally offsetting that with the killing that is taking place with non-combatants. So we do need to move past war. So I think the challenge for humanity is to figure out how to do that. And that really means us figuring out how to live with each other, not in some kind of utopian, we don't get angry and we might not go fisticuffs. But that's very different from organizing thousands of people together to go out on the battlefield and kill each other. Those are very two different things. So we need to figure out how not to do that.
It sounded like you had a journey from a person that maybe supported the military to now where you're at. I don't know where, why you went into the military to begin with, but I go into the high schools, I talk to young people, and I would love to share a story of a military person who went in, saw the light, or whatever. I don't know what happened, but would you mind?
Yeah.
In a short.
Yeah.
My question was going to be similar to Ann's. Is like, tell us a little bit about your journey, because I think that's important for us to hear and understand how you moved from a military person to where you are today.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that my journey is not the average journey for a person who is a member of Veterans for Peace, because I went in some ways aware of America, or U.S. America's injustices and ways of not acting well in the world. I think some of it was, I was young. I went in, like I said, between my junior and senior year in high school, so I didn't have it all figured out. And I was impressed by, and I think this goes for all young people, this part, impressed by the military in general. Want to improve myself. I'm a little guy. I'm 5'7". I weigh about 142 pounds or so, and I weighed less then, So the military is a way for you to test not only your manhood, but your womanhood, you being an adult. And I wanted to do all that stuff. And my mother taught us God, country, and family, so I wanted to serve. I still feel that way, except I serve in a different way now. What happened, though, is, and I touched on it lightly, I used to think there was a place for war, and I simply came to the conclusion that there's not. And it wasn't, I don't know. I'm a Christian, and so it wasn't a big leap to understand that God's children should not be treated the way they're being treated. I think I gained clarity more so than I had some epiphany or something. I didn't have a really bad experience. A lot of people come to where I'm at because they had a bad experience in the military. That's not what happened to me. I participated in war, but I did not participate in the horrors. So I did not come to this through horror. So I guess I came to it through reflection, and trying to be truer over time to the things I was taught.